The legal conflict between Elon Musk's companies, X, formerly Twitter, and Starlink, and Brazil's judiciary has become a focal point in debates surrounding content moderation, national sovereignty, and freedom of expression. At the core of this issue is Musk's refusal to comply with court orders in Brazil, resulting in significant legal actions. The ramifications of this dispute reach far beyond legal compliance, touching on political alliances, corporate responsibilities, and Brazil's volatile political climate, particularly concerning far-right groups aligned with former President Jair Bolsonaro. The conflict began when Brazil's Supreme Court issued orders demanding that X remove certain posts that were part of a doxing campaign. These posts exposed the personal information of public officials involved in investigating criminal activities related to Bolsonaro. Doxing is a dangerous practice that can result in threats to safety, which prompted the court's intervention. However, Musk's platform did not comply, citing concerns about protecting free speech, which led to a standoff between the judiciary and his companies. Musk, a well-known advocate for free speech, believes that social media platforms should not engage in censorship, even when content may be harmful. He argues that freedom of expression is a fundamental right that must be preserved, regardless of the consequences. This belief has led to Musk's refusal to remove posts on X, even when ordered by a court. In Brazil, where the law prioritizes public safety, this stance has resulted in a sharp contrast between the legal system's priorities and Musk's views on free expression. The refusal to comply with judicial orders came with hefty consequences. Brazil's Supreme Court imposed fines on X amounting to millions of dollars to penalize the company for non-compliance. When X continued to refuse, the court took an even more drastic measure by freezing the bank accounts of both X and Starlink. Although Starlink is technically a separate entity from X, Brazilian law allows for corporate structures to be pierced in cases where entities are financially or operationally intertwined, as they are in this case. This was the court's way of enforcing its fines and ensuring compliance, given Musk's efforts to distance his companies from Brazil. This legal tactic highlights Brazil's willingness to use its legal framework to push back against global tech corporations. Musk's removal of ex-representatives from Brazil complicated the judiciary's ability to hold the company accountable, but the freezing of Starlink's assets demonstrated the lengths to which the court was willing to go. It also underscored a larger issue that has been plaguing tech companies for years: the challenge of balancing corporate operations across multiple jurisdictions with different legal standards. The conflict isn't just about the legalities, though, it has significant political undertones. Musk's staunch defense of free speech has earned him backing from Brazil's far-right political factions, many of whom support former President Jair Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro's supporters, some of whom were involved in the failed coup attempt in January 2023, see Musk's resistance to judicial orders as a symbol of defiance against what they perceive as government overreach. This has given Musk's legal battle a distinctly political flavor, with X becoming a platform for far-right political discourse in Brazil. This political alignment deepened following the January 8th coup attempt. Supporters of Bolsonaro stormed government institutions in an attempt to overthrow the current administration, and some of the accounts targeted by Brazil's judiciary were linked to individuals advocating for the coup or attacking public officials responsible for investigating it. Musk's refusal to act against these accounts has been viewed by some as indirect support for Bolsonaro and his far-right supporters, adding further complexity to the situation. Meanwhile, the Brazilian judiciary continues its investigations into Bolsonaro's activities, including potential corruption and his connection to the failed coup. This judicial pursuit has not relented despite the ongoing legal battle with Musk, and the conflict between X and Brazil's courts is being used by Bolsonaro's supporters to rally opposition to further investigations. Musk's approach to the dispute has gone beyond mere legal strategies. He has actively shaped the narrative through public statements and social media. At one point, he referred to Brazil's Justice Alexandre de Moraes as Darth Vader, a reference that resonated with many far-right supporters who view the judiciary as an oppressive force. Musk's use of rhetoric and his ability to leverage public perception as a tool in the conflict has been a key element of how he manages his legal battles. By portraying himself as a champion of free speech, he has garnered significant support from those who feel that the state is stifling their right to expression, despite the more nuanced legal complexities at play. This conflict brings up broader questions about the responsibilities of global tech corporations. Should companies like X be required to follow the laws of the countries in which they operate, even when those laws conflict with their own corporate values? Musk's decision to defy Brazil's judicial orders has highlighted the challenges that arise when global platforms operate across borders with vastly different legal standards. Brazil's actions show that national governments can push back against powerful transnational corporations, but the outcome of such confrontations is still uncertain, particularly when those companies can remove their physical presence from a country while continuing to operate their platforms. The ongoing legal battle between Musk's companies and the Brazilian judiciary is far from over. If Musk continues to defy Brazilian orders, the situation could escalate even further, possibly resulting in the shutdown of X within the country. Such an outcome would not only affect Musk's business, but would also have significant implications for how social media platforms are governed in Brazil and other countries with strict content moderation laws. This dispute is part of a larger struggle over the future of freedom of speech, the role of social media in political movements, and the ability of national governments to regulate global corporations. The stakes are high both for Musk's companies and for Brazil's political and legal landscape. This legal standoff could set precedents for how similar conflicts between global corporations and national governments are handled in the future. Whether Musk will be forced to comply or will continue his defiance remains uncertain, but the resolution of this case will likely have far-reaching consequences for tech giants, national sovereignty, and the future of free expression in an interconnected world. Thank you for watching.